hi, good day. I'm Miss Wani, and I'm at BAC campus. And this is our very first street podcast in conjunction with Women's Day. And this time we're going radical, guys. We're addressing a taboo topic publicly: women's health, sexual health, reproductive health, mental health. So hopefully, there will be people who are willing to challenge their feeling of embarrassment and fear and go on with their curiosity and just bring it on with questions. And I'm waiting for people to come and sit and ask me questions. I've been waiting and waiting. Come, sit. No, seriously, ask me anything.
One eternity later.
Ask me anything. I don't bite. I'm hungry, but I don't bite. I'm starving, but I don't bite. I don't eat people. Yes. Do you have questions for me? Yay! So you read the signage. Are you curious about anything?
Yes.
Yes.
Like, what's your story?
What's my story?
Uh-huh.
My name is Wani. I'm 41 years old. I was born without uterus and without vagina.
Wow. That must be hard for you, right?
Yeah, it's hard. It was much harder when I was younger, but I think it gets slightly easier as I grow older. Yeah.
I wanted to know what is the condition that called that women who don't have uterus. What is the condition?
Okay, so it's called MRKH Syndrome.
What are the chances of women getting this like diagnosis of not having a uterus or vagina?
Okay, good question.
Mm.
So this is actually a rare disorder. It is not common. I bet you've never heard of it before. Have you heard of it before?
I have never actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a rare disorder. It's not common at all. It happens to 1 in every 5,000 female birth. Okay.
Oh.
So 1 in every 5,000 girls and women are born without uterus and vagina.
And I think it's new, so I want to know how is that possible?
How is that possible?
Yeah.
So it is possible. It's a rare disorder.
Okay.
So actually, in the whole world, we have like over 7,000 rare disorder. But it's here. In Malaysia, it's estimated there are about 3,000 women born without uterus and vagina.
I see. I see.
And you're looking at one right now?
Really?
Yes.
Like, which cases actually, like, real life cases that you can, like, if you can provide a case where somebody is actually, like, born without it.
You're looking at one right now. Yes. So we exist. It's just that we're quite rare. It happens to 1 in every 5,000 women all around the world, including Malaysia.
Oh my god.
Yeah. We exist. I'm one of them.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Um,
Anything you're curious about?
How about the period?
Okay, we don't have period ever. No period at all. Because now period comes from the uterus. It comes from the uterus wall. So because we were born without uterus, so we don't have period ever, not even a drop of blood. But we do have that monthly pain.
Oh.
Yeah, because we do have ovulation process, because we do have ovaries. We just don't have uterus, but we have ovaries. So ovaries is basically the egg factory, so to speak. So we do have the right hormones, we do have the right eggs. We just don't have the uterus where you would put a baby in. Yeah.
So you cannot get pregnant?
No pregnancy. Yeah.
I saw the signboard
Alright.
and I know that this actually exists, but how does that happen? Like, are they born without? Like,
Yeah.
are there any I don't know, like defects when they were born or anything?
Good question. This is actually the first time somebody asked about abnormalities and defects and whatnot. So I'm one of the women born without uterus and vagina. So yes, it's something that happened since we were born. It's not something that happened, in the mid of our life or anything. So it was since we were born. No uterus. Some of us no vagina. In my case, no vagina. And this condition is called MRKH syndrome.
MRK.
Yes, MRKH syndrome. And some of us, we were just born without uterus and vagina. Type 2, like me, is not having uterus, vagina, and also other abnormalities. So different MRKH women would have different abnormalities. So I do have MRKH friends who have hearing problem. Like she was born with total hearing loss. And I also have friends with heart problem. I also have friends with limb problem. Like one of the arms is longer than the other.
Oh.
Yeah, so there's problems related to skeletal and bones. And the most common one is abnormalities related to kidneys and bladder, which I have. Yeah. So I guess when you don't have one organ, other organs will be affected, because, the organs in our body is related to each other, right?
Yeah,
So
they work together.
yeah. So when one is missing, some of the others will be affected. Yeah.
So in the end of the day, it just sounds like it saves money. It sounds like it saves money for the women that are in
Saves
the...
money.
Yes.
Oh, okay. If you talk about like save money in terms of not having to buy sanitary pads, is that what you mean?
Yeah, there's no menstruation and they don't have kids, so it's like the
Okay.
financial investment isn't there.
Yeah, it's cost effective. Yes, if you look at it that way, that's correct. But also because when you don't have uterus and vagina, you probably will have other abnormalities as well.
Yes.
Because when you were born without one organ, other organs will be affected. So this rare disorder is called MRKH syndrome. So for a lot of MRKH women, not only were they born without uterus and vagina, they would have abnormalities in terms of their heart, skeletal, hearing, bladder, and kidneys. So sometimes they do have to spend money on medical stuff related to these other abnormalities. So yes, they do save money in terms of not buying sanitary pads and not, giving birth and raising kids and whatnot.
Yeah.
But they need to spend money on other health issues.
Do you have this condition?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
When did you first learn about this condition?
I learned about it at the age of 17, 18 years old, like that. Yeah. So because I didn't have my periods ever,
Oh.
unlike my friends, like at that age, at the age of 17, 18, usually all of your girlfriends would have their period already, right? So I was like the only one left out. So that's why my mom brought me to the hospital to get a checkup, and that's how I found out.
I have like two questions mainly. One is more medical in nature, and the other one's more social, I guess. Like,
All right, sure.
well, the more medical side, obviously, like the uterus is a reproductive system, and that it produces the hormones for the body. So, like, how was your life growing up without the estrogen being produced? Do you like take pills for it, like
Okay.
estrogen pills, or?
So actually, the organ that ensures us women to continue looking like female is ovary. So we do have ovary, we don't have uterus. So I do have ovary, as in the egg factory. I have the right hormones. I have the right eggs. I have the right chromosome. I just don't have uterus, which is basically the home of the baby.
So how does that work?
How does what work?
The question.
The question,
Yeah.
like,
I don't know. I came to ask how does it work because it says women can live without a vagina or a uterus or something like that. Yeah. So how does the whole system work?
like I've mentioned, they are female essentially. I mean, by chromosome, they have female chromosomes, and they have female physical features. So they have, their chest, the bottom part of their body, everything looks female.
Okay.
It's just that they do not have the monthly period, menstruation. They don't have menstruation ever. They
Okay.
cannot carry pregnancy, and they cannot have sexual intercourse. But in terms of, bladder, kidneys, they are able to, urinate normally. they are able to live normally as well.
So is there any men equivalent sort of
Okay. I think that is there's this disorder or syndrome called Klinefelter syndrome, similar to MRKH syndrome, but it's for men. Yeah.
okay. So what does that Klinefelter syndrome actually do to the male?
If I'm not mistaken, it's very closely related to sexual organs.
Okay.
Yeah, sexual organs, especially on the inside. So they may not be able to reproduce as well. Yeah.
How do females relieve themselves if they don't have a uterus or vagina?
Okay. Good question. Because there's a lot of misunderstanding that revolves around this issue. Unlike male, I know male has two opening
Yeah.
or holes,
Yeah.
right? One is for them to urinate,
Mhm.
and another one is for them to relieve themselves, for them to poop, basically, right? Whereas for women, normal women should have three. So the third one would be for sexual intercourse,
Okay.
and that is vagina.
I see.
So women born without vagina, they cannot have sexual intercourse, but they can urinate, they can relieve themselves.
I see.
Yeah, it's a different opening, a different hole.
okay.
One would still be able to be pregnant with that, or
No,
like with IVF.
Oh.
Like this.
we cannot have IVF. Why? Because okay, so how does IVF works is that the female's egg and the male sperm will be combined, and then it will be put into the women's uterus. So because we don't have any uterus, you can combine our egg with the male sperm, but then that combination have to be put into uterus,
I
which we
see.
don't have.
I see.
So we still cannot carry pregnancy, even though we have eggs. Yeah.
So does that kind of affect your normal like daily life?
Of course, it affect me in a lot of aspects of my life. Like, I'm not able to get pregnant, and I cannot have my own biological child, but I'm able to be a mother through adoption. So I have two children. And in terms of not having vagina, I've constructed my own vagina through physical therapy. So that's one of the solution. Women born without vagina, they can go through either physical therapy or surgery or both. So I've done that. So because of that, I'm able to have intimacy with my partner. Yeah.
I think that's like a gift from the God. Like
Yeah.
your child, the two childs that you adopted.
Yes, true.
Yeah.
I'm very blessed to have them.
Yeah.
I don't ever see them as not being biologically mine. I've always seen them as just mine.
Yeah.
Because I've been nurturing them since birth, so they're my children.
Why is there a stigma around women who choose to not have children and have children? Like, I don't see this being a problem surrounding men. Like, men, they can choose to not have children and people still praise them. But when it comes to women, they're like, oh, you're not meant to do this. You're meant to give birth, bring life into this earth. So yeah.
I think it's within our belief and culture, especially Southeast Asian countries, right?
Right.
And just because women are, the carriers of life, of babies, and so a lot of burden and responsibility is being put onto our shoulders. And I think a lot of people would equalize being a woman to being pregnant and being mothers. Like, if you're not mothers, you're not women enough, which is
True.
which is totally wrong, right? We're more than just carriers of babies and whatnot. Me being born without uterus and having two children through adoption, I would still totally support my girlfriends who don't want to have children. I'm totally pro-choice. Whatever you want to do with your body, girl, it's entirely up to you. I respect that. So does that answer your question?
Yep.
Sorry, I'm blabbering.
It's okay. It's
Yeah.
nice hearing from your perspective as well.
Yeah.
Does it contradict with your religion, that surgery?
Good question. You're the first to ask. Right now, it is still in discussion phase. Actually, in Western countries, it has been done, and in Arab countries, in Muslim countries, it has also been done.
Do you think Malaysia will be as
I
accepted
hope
as?
so. I hope so. Not for me, but for my MRKH sister. So the name of the syndrome is MRKH syndrome.
Mm.
So there are many MRKH girls, younger than I am. So I am hoping for uterine transplant to be here in Malaysia for them. Yeah.
I hope so also.
Yeah. As of now, the only way for us MRKH girls and women to be mothers is through adoption.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. In other countries, they practice surrogacy as well,
Mm.
but surrogacy is illegal not just in Malaysia. A lot of Southeast Asian country like Singapore, it's also illegal in Singapore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe because it's tricky having that business transaction of somebody
Yes.
borrowing somebody's uterus and
I think it has to do with our culture also.
yeah,
like
true.
bloodlines. and
Yes,
Yeah.
true. Yeah,
Pure breed or something.
Yes.
Whatnot. Yeah.
correct.
So it
You're
has to do
right.
with the Asian thinking also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Western countries, they're more open, right? They have uterine transplant, they have surrogacy, they have a lot of solutions and options. But us in Southeast Asian countries, we're more conservative.
Yeah. This kind of
Yeah.
topic is not that comfortable to be put on table for us
True,
compared to the
yes.
Western peoples.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
very stigmatized. It's
Yeah.
taboo topic,
Yeah.
right? It's exactly why we have this conversation out here in the open. Yeah, because this conversation needs to happen.
I just think that whenever it comes to it has to do with sexual organ parts or
Mm.
anything, then it would be a taboo topic. For
Yeah,
Asian
you are
people.
so right. You are so right. I think because Southeast Asian people look at sex as something that is dirty and sinful,
and they materialize women's body parts too much.
Yes,
which makes it
yes.
into something that
Yeah,
wasn't
true.
supposed to be that special, but they make it like until-
True,
yeah.
true. Actually, somebody just mentioned that just now. Somebody who sat here with me.
Why are women's bodies so objectified in media? And is there anything we can do to overcome this issue? Again, when I usually see this around women, when we look at men, we don't look at them with lust. We look at them in a way where, oh, they look good. Like we try to bring the confidence up. But it's not the same when the boys or men look at us. When they look at us, they think, oh, this and that. It's like lust.
Yeah,
It's no
yeah.
longer like, oh, I like how you look, or I feel like you're confident. So what can we do to
Yeah.
overcome this issue? I feel like this is a huge problem globally speaking.
Yeah, I think media plays a huge role in this. How are we gonna portray women through media? And I think the fact that even from ancient times, beauty is women and women is beauty. And the definition of beauty, we have always been taught. I mean, at least people of my generation or the previous generation, beauty is what you see from the outside. Yeah. So we always think of beauty as physical and women is beauty. So women is just physical.
Correct.
You get what I mean?
I get
so
it.
when men look at us, they don't think about what's in our head. They don't think about what's in our brain. They look at what we wear. They look at how we move our body and things like that. Yeah. So I think the society, the media plays a huge role in how are we going to portray women, not just the physical aspects, but the intellect,
Correct,
the
correct.
mental, emotional aspects of it. Yeah.
Do you have any plans to maybe travel to the countries that do have such procedures and getting one yourself?
To be honest, no.
I see.
Because I think because I've come to terms with my condition, I'm all right with not having uterus. I am also a mother through adoption. I have 2 children of my own, and I am not brave enough to go through a huge surgery like that.
Okay.
Because it's a huge operation, right? It's a huge surgery. There's a lot of impacts and consequences, and not everybody can go through it. Yeah, it's safe. There's a lot of success stories in other countries in terms of uterine transplant, but I don't think I have the mental capacity to go through it. Yeah.
You're just basically like a man, but in a woman's body.
To be honest, I've never felt like a man, but when I was younger, I did question my gender and sexuality only because the doctor at that time asked me do you like boys or do you like girls? You know, so I was like, what am I supposed to say to that?
Correct.
You know, and this was like 2 decades ago. I'm 40 something now.
Oh wow,
This was
you're young.
this was 2 decades ago, and during that time, there wasn't much awareness. Even doctors didn't know much about it. So when the doctor was talking to me, he was like trying to find more information about my personal experience. So he asked me, "Do you have feelings towards girls, or do you like boys better?" And me as a confused teenage girl, I was like, "Am I supposed to like girls?
Yeah.
I know I like boys, but am I not supposed to like boys? Yeah, but I think as I grow and as I educate myself and find out more about my condition, I feel more and more women, even though I don't have uterus and vagina. I do have ovaries, which is the egg factory,
Correct.
basically. I do have the right hormones, the right eggs. I do have that monthly ovulation pain. So I get that monthly pain, just not the blood. Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, like, and that's why every time I talk to my normal girlfriends, like every time they complain like, "Oh, I hate PMS and whatnot," like, I am thankful for my ovulation pain because it's a reminder that I'm a woman. Yeah, because it's the only women organ that I have, sort of. Yeah. So whenever I feel that pain, I was like, I'm still a woman. It's still functioning. I'm producing eggs, Yeah.
What are some common misconceptions people have about this condition?
I think some of the common misconception is like sometimes people are confused between us MRKH women. The name of the syndrome is MRKH syndrome. Us MRKH women and like transgender. I've had that before. Like people thought I'm born male or something like that, but our chromosome is female. Like you can look at me, you can see I'm a female, right? Yeah, it's just that I was born without vagina and uterus. So a lot of people think that if you cannot get pregnant, you're not a woman enough. Or if you don't have vagina, you're not a woman enough. But the truth is, from my own condition, I learned that women comes in all sorts of shapes and form, right? There's no one default template. Yeah.
Like do people because people are not as not informed about this, do they maybe like misjudge MRKH women who have physical abnormalities, and do they maybe like label them as a different syndrome instead, and does that like harm the awareness for MRKH women?
Yeah. Yes, through my advocacy work for the past over 10 years, right? Whenever I just, like go out there and spread awareness, especially on like TV, radio, when it reaches people like the mass audience, most of the time I would get positive words of encouragement. But there are also people who would like label us as transgender, they would call us like, they thought we have 2 genitalia. They thought we're supposed to be boys, we're supposed to be men. Yeah, so I do get that once in a while, even until today. Yeah.
It makes me think that everyone has their own problems that you wouldn't know lah.
Yeah.
So
everybody has their own battle.
that's
Yeah.
right.
And everybody is unique too. I mean, I bet you are unique in your own special way as well. Yeah.
That's why I think we can't judge a person.
Yeah, true.
Because you
Like,
don't know what they are going through.
correct. Like you look at a person and you think, oh, this is, just a normal person. Like she looks super happy and like nothing is wrong with her, but you don't know on the inside what happens,
Yeah, maybe
right?
she has to put up a front or something. like
Yeah,
that.
correct. Yeah.
How did you feel about this though? Like when you found out about it?
To be honest, at first it was confusing. Of course, I felt sad, but it was more confusing for me because it was something that I've never heard of. I don't have any friends with this condition. I don't have any relatives, siblings with this condition. And during that time, this was like 2 decades ago. I'm 40 plus now.
Oh.
So this was 2 decades ago. There was not much awareness. Even the doctors didn't know much about it, so the doctor couldn't tell me more. I was confused, to be honest. In terms of feeling sad, yes, I felt sad because I knew that I was different from my friends. And as a teenager, you want to blend in, you know, you want to fit in. You don't want to be like the alien, the freak one. Yeah.
Like emotional wise, how do you feel knowing that you will not be able to experience sexual intercourse even like your future relationship or husband?
Thank you. You're actually the first to ask that question today, and I really appreciate that. I got diagnosed when I was very young. I was about 17, 18 years old. And to be honest, as a teenager, I did not think that far, you know, because the only thing that I knew at that point of time was I cannot get pregnant, and that's about it. And then later on only I found out that, oh, I cannot have sexual intercourse as well. Of course, it makes me feel different. To be honest, it's more confused rather than sad, because I couldn't find anyone else with a condition like me. And the doctor during that time, and we're talking like 2 decades ago, the doctor during that time couldn't explain more because it's so rare. So there was not much information. So I was more confused rather than sad, you know. But after that, I learned that there's solution, you know, which is physical therapy or surgery, which I did. So now I do have vagina.
Wow.
Yeah. So basically, I can say I constructed my own vagina through physical therapy. Yeah, which took me a couple of years. So yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah. So now you can actually have.
Yes, I can be intimate with my partner, and of course that improves my mental health, because I've always believed that sexual health is mental health. You know, it's closely related to one another. Yeah. So whenever I see or know anyone else with my condition, I would always encourage them to go for therapy or surgery. You know, like at least if you cannot get pregnant, you can have intimacy with your partner, which is also very important.
Was there anyone in particular during that time of your life who helped you get through it, so to speak?
Honestly, no one. I wish I can name someone. I mean, I would probably say my mom, but my mom didn't take it in a healthy manner as well. But I totally don't blame her, because, you know, she didn't have much knowledge as well. And it was something entirely new to her as well, you know, and being an Asian parent in a very conservative country, growing up in a very traditional household, of course, it was something that was very foreign to her. She didn't know how to handle it. And like the first thing that she said was, I should not get married, you know. But I understand now that she was protecting me. Yeah. And of course, at that time, as a teenager, I was like, are you denying my right to have a normal life like other people, you know? Yeah.
It must have been hard to hear that as well. And understandably, maybe she didn't mean anything ill out of it.
Yeah, of
She
course.
just trying to protect you.
Yeah.
How did you eventually come to be an advocate, you know, to be where you are and proudly advocating for people who are just like you know?
I think because I started getting support from a support group in the US. So in my 20s, that was when I really struggled mentally, emotionally. And then there was this support group in the US who really supported me. We communicated via Skype. And I was like, you know, if I could feel this supported with someone who's, you know, like miles away, totally different culture, imagine being supported by someone, you know, within the same culture, the same background, the same country. So I was not going to wait for a support group to happen in Malaysia. I know it's not going to happen. It's already disorder. 1 in 5,000, I'm not going to wait. So I might as well, you know, start my own. So I started my own support group in 2014. I was just about to turn 30 at that time. And I guess it was a pivotal moment where I started questioning myself. Okay, I'm 30 years old this year. What have I done with my life? How do I contribute to this world? So I see my condition, my rare disorder, as a gift. And I want to use this gift to help others like me. Yeah.
That sounds really nice. I can relate to it to a small extent. I've experienced depression before. It was difficult, and coming from not conservative, but my family is quite ignorant on mental health as well. I had no one that I could turn to, and there have been many traumatic instances that happened in my life, and sometimes I feel that people don't really know what's going on, and I agree with you. We can wait, but that's not something we can control, right? For people to come and save us.
True.
So why not do something for
Exactly.
the locals here? You know?
Yeah.
We do have the power. We do have information. So there's so much that we can achieve.
Yeah, true.
Another question would be, what do you think we can do more, to raise awareness?
I think this kind of conversation should happen more in public, just to destigmatize it and not make it such a taboo topic. I think there's so many people out there struggling with mental health and sexual health. I mean, for us to talk about mental health today, we have come a long way. 2 decades ago, nobody talked about mental health the way we're doing it today. I'm hoping people will talk about sexual health the way we're talking about mental health today. So that's my goal, basically. I know we can get there. We've seen how mental health progress, conversation-wise, acceptance-wise. So I believe there's so many people out there struggling sexually, intimacy-wise, and there's so much help they can get if only they reach out for it. But first thing first is to validate and acknowledge the issue and talk about it publicly like this. Yeah. So I think conversation should start.
Thank you very much for doing this. I
Of
think it's really
course.
brave of you.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm recently married,
All right.
and the question that I had for you was: is this something that is important, or is this the line that people draw when they are looking for a partner? Whether a lady has a vagina or uterus, is that something that was, in your experience, was something that people said that they won't compromise with, yeah.
I can speak on behalf of not just myself, but on behalf of other women with the same condition as me.
Okay.
Observing their life experiences and whatnot, because we do share our personal stories. It's subjective, depending on the individual. Of course, a lot of people do care whether their partner can reproduce or not. I guess a small amount of people don't really mind. But then again, living in a Southeast Asian country, growing up in a Southeast Asian country, when you marry someone, you don't just marry this person, you marry the whole family, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes this person doesn't mind, but his or her family does mind.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's really tricky. I guess from my own experience, before marriage, definitely you need to sit down, be honest, get yourself checked, tick all the boxes. And I guess the hardest part is not just we have to be honest with our partner, but also their family. So let's say, not having uterus, not having vagina, how do I tell that to a partner, and what more his family? It's super tricky and super complicated, but that's what we have to do.
So how has life been for you with this condition?
I think it was toughest when I was young. I didn't have any period ever, so that made me feel left out compared to my girlfriends, because having period is like core memory for a lot of girls, right? And it's something that you would share personally with your friends, you bond with your girlfriends and whatnot. So I didn't have that. So I felt isolated as a teenager. And in my 20s, it was tough because, you would have relationship with boys, and how do I explain that to my boyfriend, or my future husband or something like that? Yeah, like how do I say, hey, I don't have vagina? It's not something that you can just tell casually, right? But as I grow older, I think it becomes slightly easier and easier, especially when I've educated myself and then I try opening up about it and talking to people like this. I get to help people and that makes me feel better. Yeah.
I'm curious of why would you want to put this podcast up?
Okay. To be honest, it was not my idea.
Oh.
I was approached by the college. They told me that there's this Women's Day campaign that they want to do.
Oh.
So, and then they found out that I advocate women's health out there. And they asked me, do you want to do like a street podcast here and let passers-by ask whatever question that they have
really
about women's health. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, I've never done that before. Why not?
Yeah. Because I found like podcasts quite interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
and it was my first time.
It's my first time as well. To be honest, I am not a huge fan of the traditional podcasts.
Yeah.
But this feels different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was there a defining moment for you where you realized, okay, this is exactly what I want to do?
I think it was when I met the first MRKH system, Malaysian MRKH system. So I started going public about my condition when I hit the age 30, right? So I started talking about it when I recite my poetry on stage because I also do poetry and music. So I kind of use that platform. I write on it, and like when I have the attention of the audience, I would use that to, advocate and spread awareness. And then there was this one time when I was performing at a poetry festival or music festival, something like that. And then one of the audience, this girl came to me after the show and approached me, and I thought she was my listener, I thought she was one of my followers or something like that. And suddenly she said, Kak Wani, I have what you have. I was like, what? What do I have? I already suspected, but I've never met somebody similar to my experience. And she was like, I also have MRKH syndrome. And both of us broke down right there and then. And we started talking like we knew each other for 10 years, I've never seen anybody who have experienced what I experienced, not having period our whole life, not being able to get pregnant, not being able to have sexual intercourse unless we go for therapy, So I've only seen MRKH person through Skype. That support group in US I mentioned just now. Yeah. So, but being able to sit down face to face with a Malaysian girl having MRKH syndrome, that was empowering to me. And I was like, we need to find more. We need to find more like us. There's more like us. It was like that X-Men moment, There's more like us out there. Let's find them. Yeah.
How does the movement now in Malaysia particularly, right? Because obviously quite a lot are affected right now. So how does the movement looks like in Malaysia?
I think because the topic is very taboo, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of shame and stigma and fear revolves around it. To be honest, in terms of MRKH Malaysia being a support group, it's a one women show for me because a lot of, not majority of the MRKH women, they don't want to put themselves out there, which is totally understandable. And I respect the decision. It's not easy to do this, So it's hard for me to be that one women show, So it's not progressing as fast as I wish it could. But having said that, I'm happy that at least now I'm collaborating officially with UKM. So we're doing a lot of research, a lot of educational programs, and we're also working with Jakim to bring uterine transplant here. So we are progressing, but just very slowly.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Happy to hear there's a progress on that.
Yes.
Do you think our country is heading in the right directions for women's rights and overall women-related topics?
I think we are, even though it's super slow, but we are heading to the right direction. We have better leaders nowadays, I believe. We have younger leaders now, and more and more young women are speaking up. You know, in terms of our rights as women, and also I've just read about yesterday. I've just read about the statistics revolving around child marriage. So it's significantly lower this year compared to last year. So you know, that's great. Yep.
As I said before, this topic could be very sensitive among people. So how does putting up this sign and creating this street podcast make you feel?
Okay, I personally believe that the more awkward that conversation is, the more important it is to happen. Because I think Asian people, especially, right?
Southeast Asians.
Yeah, Southeast Asian people, we are very conservative, very reserved. We just want to play safe and talk about things on the surface. We don't want to discuss about things deeper, you know, things that are hard and difficult to talk about. We totally avoid it. And by avoiding it, we're not solving any problems. We're not saving anyone. I realized that by talking this way, I get the opportunity to spread awareness. More people know about it. And then more people will know how to get help, how to get support. Maybe one of these people who approach me, maybe they have, in the future, maybe they would have a relative or a friend who would have this disorder, you know, you'll never know. And he or she will be like, you know, I know who you can find and ask for support and assistance and medical information. And that would be me. So I think by talking about it, I get to help more people.
Is there any advice you would give to young people that diagnosed with this condition?
Advice, I would say be easy on yourself. I know it's tough. It's definitely tough for you to accept. Don't expect for acceptance to happen overnight. You know, like even for me, I only get to do this publicly at the age of 30. I was diagnosed at the age of 17. So for many, many years, it was challenging for me to accept myself in its entirety, you know? So take your time. There are days when you're down. There are days when you can pick yourself up. So just follow the flow and acknowledge all sorts of emotion. Negative emotion, positive emotion, just embrace it all. And I think the best way to empower yourself is by educating yourself. I think especially women, we worry a lot. We overthink a lot. Whenever we are sick, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna Google the symptoms. What are we having? You know, headache, and then it will pop up as brain tumor or whatever. You know, we overthink a lot. So when you educate yourself about your health condition, you feel less worried. When you see the doctor, you get proper diagnosis, you know what to do. So you feel in control of your body. Yeah.
How do you feel the opening up about this? Like
now, I feel nervous, but I feel like it's something that needs to be done. Yeah, to be honest, I only started opening up at the age of 30, and that was like 11 years ago. So when I was a teenager, when I was in my 20s, I was very insecure about it. You know, I have a lot of fear and whatnot. But as I grow older, I realized that more people should know about it. And also I realized when I open up, I discover more and more girls like me, and I get to support them. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
There's a lot of others.
Yes, I actually formed a support group called MRKH Malaysia. And through this support group, I have 200 women like me. Yeah, in Malaysia. But there should be more. In Malaysia, it is estimated that there should be at least 3,000 women like me. So far, I only have 200. And I think a lot of MRKH women, they're either hiding or, you know, feeling embarrassed. Or maybe even misdiagnosed. Maybe they don't even know that they have this condition, right? Especially like people in probably rural areas or
But I really, really admire you opening up like this because this is actually a really difficult topic. I personally I feel it's really difficult.
Yes,
It's amazing.
I actually told my friends that I do feel vulnerable. I do feel nervous. Like that feeling doesn't go away. But like I told you, it's important, and I believe this way I can get the word out and help more people.
But it's so inspiring. Even the fact that I don't know you by much, but just to see you here, and the fact that you're telling me you're in your 40s, you don't look it. I will say that. It's really, really inspiring to know that, you know, there's, despite these challenges, the experiences that you've had, the challenges that you will have in time to come, perhaps that you have found a way to persevere through it. I mean, if I have to see you here today,
I hope so.
yeah,
I hope so.
yeah.
I promise you, I am not strong all the time, and this didn't happen overnight. For me to do this, you know, like I was doing this at the age of 17, but I only sort of came out publicly about it at the age of 30.
Right.
So it took me many years to just accept and embrace
Sure,
the whole
yeah.
thing, and you know, just make peace with my condition and myself.
Mm.
Yeah, so I've come a long way, I would say.
Yeah, I would think so too.
Mm.
Thank you so much for
Thank
sharing,
you.
for even putting yourself out here and sharing with us. And you know, I've learned something new today. And
Thank you. I'm glad.
You know,
I hope I'm spreading awareness here.
yeah, definitely, because
Mm.
I will be sure to, you know, read up more on this and
Thank
you know,
you.
perhaps be a little more understanding towards the kind of challenges people face in our, you know, daily
Yes,
societal
that's
framework.
wonderful.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
So that's why we would equalize, you know, women, beauty, physical, and when physical is just on the surface, you don't want to understand the person. You look at women and you just think of them as, you know, like sexual objects and things like that.
But the world is like this. Human is a
Yeah.
visual animal.
Yeah, true. But I think we are moving towards a better path right
Yeah.
now, compared to centuries, decades ago,
Yes, yes,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
More vocal.
True.
Information is more
Yes.
accessible.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And we have more men like you know, who are aware of these things. And,
Yeah.
you know, I believe you would protect your sister, your mother, your aunts,
Yes,
you know,
definitely.
one day your daughter, you know. Yeah. So when we're talking about sex education and women's rights, it's not just for girls and women to know about.
Yeah.
It's for both genders
I
to
think
know
it's more
about.
to educate the people. about
Yeah,
it.
educate and just the importance of coexisting
Yeah. Yeah.
harmoniously, right? Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Mm.
I think you're doing really great.
Hopefully, I hope so.
I also wish
try.
I also wish that I have the courage to come out and advocate for what I advocate for as well. Personally, I advocate for workplace well-being. We understand that
Very
mental-
important.
Exactly, because the quality of your work
Mm.
is dependent on your well-being as well.
Yes.
You know, the more happy
Yes,
you are, the
true.
more you can give.
Yeah.
But if you're not happy, then that's not much, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So
And we work 5 days a week.
that's
At
a
least.
long time at work.
Yes.
So that's something that I try to advocate about, but I'm still trying to look for the courage.
You will. I mean, this doesn't happen overnight. I'm in my 40s now. This doesn't happen overnight. I've never done this before. This is my first time as well.
So all of my family background is a lot of doctors and professors. So there are times when I learned about this when I was younger, because like there are some people who are I guess like boys or girls, they're born with 2 reproductive organs and stuff like that, and like one
Yeah.
without reproductive organs and stuff like that. So I knew about that, but like especially coming into the context of our country, which is a very like sexual education is not a very big
Yes.
thing, and it's a very conservative
Yeah.
country, so we didn't really talk about this much.
Mm-mm.
So you might be like confused growing up. That's how I was
True.
confused. Like,
True.
I hope that everything's going well for you right now. You're happy in your life.
Yes, it's
Okay, that's good to
going
hear.
much better now. Yeah, I mean, growing up, I made the effort to educate myself. You know, spread awareness, find my own tribe, find my own community, and just learn from various support group. Start my own support group here in Malaysia. Connect with doctors and other girls like me. So yeah, it's going pretty well.
Okay. Thank you, Tammy. I mean, I'm kind of happy and a bit hopeful that you managed to, like, I guess the example of you managing to like find your own like footing in football. That's nice
Yeah,
to hear. It's
yeah.
a bit very hopeful to hear.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
happy
That's very thoughtful.
You're very
of you.
strong for like that and everything.
I
lah.
try.
Yeah.
I try. I'm not strong all the time, but I try.
I mean, like, just because someone stumbles doesn't mean that they lost their way. Lah.
True, so true. Oh my god, thank you so much for that. I needed that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I hope everything goes well in your life and that you have a happy day today and enjoy
Yes,
yourself.
Amin. Thank you so much.
Alright, thank you. Nice meeting you. And
Nice meeting you, Tao.
And answering my questions.
Yes.
Sorry if they were a bit intrusive or they were a bit.
No,
weird.
not at all. It's exactly why we have this conversation. I mean, you were totally right about, our country being conservative and it's stigmatized. Sex education is stigmatized. It's a really taboo subject, and it's exactly why we have this.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
And happy Women's Day for International Women's Day and everything. Alright,
Thank
bye-bye.
you, Tao.
I forgot that we were being recorded. Okay, bye bye. Thank you.